I don't know how many of you know this, but a few weeks ago I learned that, against all odds, I am pregnant. Many of you know that I've had kind of a rough journey with fertility. I had my first miscarriage more than 13 years ago, and I have been pregnant many times since then. Twice I was lucky enough to successfully carry to term, and I have two beautiful, healthy little boys. Now, I wish I could tell you otherwise, but after numerous ultrasounds and blood draws, we have determined that my pregnancy is once again not progressing and is not viable. I don't know how many of you have been unfortunate enough to experience a miscarriage before, but I am not interested in going through it unnecessarily. And right now, the safest and most appropriate treatment for me, and the treatment that I choose, is abortion. But the laws that this legislature has passed has interfered with my ability to do that, along with countless others. Arizonans deserve the freedom and the liberty to make those decisions for themselves.
The mother of two said she decided to reveal her personal story as a wake-up call for state legislatures, giving them a real look at how their policies affect the residents of their state. And the Democratic state senator joins us now, and I really appreciate your coming on. I was so moved by your words and so grateful for them, because you vividly and deeply personally showed that abortion is health care, that abortion isn't the harsh, narrow-minded religious lie put out by the right, but that it's actual health care, like prostate health care, like chemotherapy health care, like mental health care. That abortion, especially in your case, is making your life healthier. And it is not something you want, but it is something that you need and choose to have as part of your health care. So I first just want to know, how are you doing? How are you holding up?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on today. I'm doing really well. I actually had my abortion yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. I had my procedure. I was treated so well. I'm doing very well now. I recovered very quickly, and I'm back at work today. So I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking.
I'm so interested to hear more about that, given how public you went about your plans and also the points that you were making about the reasons why you need this type of health care. How has the reaction been, and also the procedure itself, and what kind of discussions did you have about the politics behind all of this, which has really made all of this so much harder for women across America, depending on where they live?
Well, as far as the reaction is concerned, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I've had so much support, so many people reaching out to me with their own stories. There have been some negative reactions, of course. What's really been interesting to me is that when I'm online and I'm looking at all of these different reactions to this story, I see so many people who try to argue that what I'm doing isn't abortion, or that what happened to me doesn't qualify as abortion somehow. And I think that there's a real misunderstanding that we have to talk about this, that it doesn't matter what the circumstances are for the individual. Everybody has to fall in line under the same laws. I have to follow the same guidelines and procedures as anyone else, no matter how they impact me. And when we look at healthcare isn't either an emergency where you're going to die or you're fine. There is a whole spectrum in between, and a lot of things count as healthcare. How your family is going to be impacted by a pregnancy, how your finances and your socioeconomic status, that impacts your health, how the relationship that you have with your partner, and whether that's healthy or whether it's dangerous and coercive. All of these things count as a part of someone's comprehensive picture of how their health is going to be impacted by a pregnancy. And just because mine might be easier for some people to understand doesn't mean that it's any different in the spectrum of how it relates to my healthcare outcomes, the same way that it does as everyone else.
I mean, in some cases, if a woman does not have the termination, the abortion that she needs for her health care, she's left sterilized, or she's left in a position where she has to bring a baby to term that will die. These are the realities that women who have fetal abnormalities have to deal with now because of the overturning of Roe. I'm curious, had you not had the abortion, what was the fate you were facing?
I was inevitably going to have a miscarriage. There's no question about whether or not I was going to be able to carry to term. I was not. I've had miscarriages before, and that was not something that I was interested in putting myself through again. It was an extremely traumatic experience for me. It's painful, it's frightening. I've been to the emergency department. I've had just very negative experiences having to go through miscarriages in the past, and having an abortion was a much better option for me, something that I felt comfortable with, something that was the right choice, the right decision for me in my circumstance. There was not going to be any scenario under which I was going to be able to carry a baby to term. So abortion was the choice that made the most sense to me.
Okay, so I want to frame that a little bit if I could, because you have been so generous with your personal information and sharing this on this show as well as in your state on the floor. You would have miscarried. You were sure to miscarry had you not had what yesterday was an outpatient procedure that went well for you, so well that you're on national television right now. Instead, you would have been waiting for an experience that would have been shocking, may I add, if I am right, traumatic, and also unexpected. You don't know when it's going to happen. And possibly would it, I want those on the far right who somehow have dreamed up that this is part of their religion, which it's not, okay? We can just put that to the side and have that debate another day if you think it's your religion, all right? And now look at this woman here who is healthy, who is speaking about her experience of going and getting a healthy abortion health care, so she's not in the position of bleeding out in some way or having a miscarriage at the drop of a hat. Eva, I don't understand why this is hard, and I'm sorry to take your graphic story, perhaps make it even more graphic, but I think the vividness of what you're talking about is what we all need to talk about. And I'll say it again and again. It's healthcare. It's abortion healthcare. To never say that word without attaching healthcare to it, to remind those that they have someone in their life who might need an abortion. That it doesn't only apply to people on the left who are bad and sacrilegious in some way. It's not your religion, by the way. But people on the right who are somehow still holding on to this abortion is evil concept are going to have someone close to them or even themselves who are going to need one in order to be able to have more children in the future or to not die or bleed out. Am I making myself clear, Eva? And also, I just want to thank you for helping explain this.
No, of course I agree with you. And I don't mind sharing the details of my story. I knew when I stood up, even though it was a vulnerable moment, everybody can hear my voice shaking. Everybody can hear me kind of hyperventilating through it. It is a vulnerable moment for me. But I knew when I decided to stand up and share that story that I was sharing my journey, my experience. I was still pregnant at the time of that speech. I'm here with you today, having had the procedure yesterday. I want people to have a more accurate picture of what the abortion patient looks like, because I do think that there is this narrative that people who are against abortion want to push about who the abortion patient is and what that looks like. And we have to combat that because it's inaccurate and it's unfair. And abortion bans are incredibly unpopular.
Totally agree. I would love to have you back, especially on the issue of explaining the procedure and what it, because again, there's so much misinformation. Arizona State Senator Eva Birch, thank you for everything. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and would love to see you again soon on this show.
Thank you for having me anytime. It's such an important conversation. It's a larger conversation about how we take control of this situation, how we translate it into action, how we get people to come to the ballot and to make sure that their voices are being heard in a meaningful way, in the way that they're not being heard in the Arizona legislature right now and in legislatures across the country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.